Are we gonna start with the toast?
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I gotta open my beer.
You gotta open mine too.
Oh, who's got on lighter status?
Oh shit.
You have a beer, bottle of
Beer.
I do. Well, we only
A
do ultra.
barber bottle opener.
We're an ultra barbershop with twist. Or pop. Salud.
We good?
Here's to
Middle
good
part.
friends.
Adrian.
Parker, where are you?
Cheers, cheers, cheers.
Good friends, the barber tradition. Produce
Cheers.
salud. Salud, salud. White guy, let's do this.
19-year-old.
Aw.
So, would you ladies like to introduce yourselves?
All right. My name is Selena Fierro. I go by Slang Cuts on my Instagram. You can get me at Selena Fierro, 3rd generation.
I'm Marisa Murieta. I'm a new barber, and I'm Good Vibes. You can find me on Instagram at goodvibes_az.
Okay, and we have Parker, my co-host.
Cough clap.
Parker Fit the Barber. And we just want to start today, tell us a little bit about yourselves. Let's start with you, Selena. How did you start in the industry, and how did everything begin in this
So,
This shop.
well, this shop right here, I've been here for 2 years, but we're gonna have to take it way back. Cierra la puerta.
Yeah.
You don't wanna know what goes down in these Tucson streets. But anyway, so I am a 3rd generation barber. My older sister is a barber. My dad's a barber. My tata was a barber. So it was just in the family. I grew up watching my dad and my tata cut hair. And of course, I always wanted to do whatever my dad did. If he was outside cleaning the yard, I wanted to be out there. If he was outside working on the car. So when I would watch him do haircuts and be in the barbershop and see the way people just fed into the shop and his vibe and his energy, and I really wanted that. And I was 8 years old, and I joined a When I Grow Up contest where we would write about what we wanted to be when we grew up, and I actually got 2nd place in that, which was kind of cool, because I wanted to be a barber. How weird is that? Everybody was like, I want to be a scientist.
This is
now.
in school?
Yeah, and I was 8 years
old.
old. Yeah, someone was like, I want to be a veterinarian. I wanted, and I was the little girl, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a barber. And I wrote a report, and my dad helped me, and he explained like the concept of just being a barber. Nothing too crazy, because we had to understand it at 8 years old. And along with the contest, I was able to bring my dad to my 2nd grade class. And we wrote permission slips to all the boys and girls who wanted a haircut. And my dad actually came into my class, did a haircut, and
Oh, wow.
on one of the young kids that was my little homie back then, and he talked, hey, this is barbering, this is what we do, and everybody was like, oh, that was so cute, you know what I mean? My mom made a bunch of cupcakes for everybody. But I got 2nd place. And in 8th grade, I was already pushing to be a barber. And and then you get older, you think you want to do different things, and finally, I was 18, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I went to barber school, and man, I paid it all cash, what I could up front, and then I did a part-time job after that, and just paid the rest off as I went, and it took about a year and 2-3 months to finally get my license, but.
Yeah.
And here I am, almost 19 years later. I had added a year last year, but this month, actually, on the 23rd, I believe, is my 19th year
19th year.
anniversary.
Wow, that's like
Happy anniversary.
Thank
for
you,
real.
man.
That's like
I tried to divorce a couple times. Woo! It's,
a divorce.
Cool. So what were the off times? Were you cutting all 19 years or?
Yeah, I've been cutting all 19 years.
Nice.
That's been my #1 source of income. Like Karla said, she heard my story at our Todo Mujeres event.
Mm-hmm.
I was a musician. I'm still a musician, but that's the route I was going. I'd go and cut hair, and everybody was like, oh, you're so good, blah, blah, blah. I just wanted the money so I could go buy equipment, so I could do studio time, so I can, do things beyond barbering. And that whole time, I struggled. That whole time, You know, I never saw what barbering was giving me. So I did it all these years, but mentally, I wasn't there the first probably 14, 15 years
So
ago.
you
But I've
didn't
always
take it
been good though.
serious.
I didn't take it serious. I always knew I was good. I always knew I could show up into any shop, do my thing. But I wanted to be that musician who's getting booked and going all over the country, like, you know. And so, like I said, I've been doing it 19 years, but mentally here and in my heart, it wasn't until about 5 years ago that I really started realizing, you know.
What made that impact where you were like, I need to take this serious. I need to take barbering into my heart and take it serious to the next step. Why 14 years now?
Because I wasn't getting paid from doing music. And 5 years ago, I was 33 years old. So if I'm 33 years old, I've already been dropped from a label, I'm not making any new music, you know what I mean? And Instagram and social media started. So I started seeing pictures of barbers, pictures of stuff, and you know, the ego in me was like, I could do that.
You're like, I
Well,
could do it better.
You know what I mean?
You've already been doing it.
Yeah, and it just kind of dawned on me, and then, you know, everybody has reflective moments in their life, and I'm like, I'm 33 years old. I obviously haven't made it as a musician that I wanted to be, and right here, it's been just waiting for me.
Yeah.
And that was the moment when I'm just sitting there, probably at the worst time in my early 30s. I'm not making much money. You know, anything I do is going to the studio. I'm not even really working per se. I'm just doing haircuts at my house and stuff, you know, but I never lost the talent and all of that. I was still doing amazing work, but I wasn't there. So that moment when I was like, I have to stop this. I'm getting older, you know, time doesn't stop, you know. So,
Yeah.
so that was kind of when it finally hit me in social media, Instagram, you know, and like I said, I saw these younger barbers doing stuff and I was like, I can do that, you know, and then I just kind of went from there.
You embraced it
I
more.
embraced it. It was like, I always say it was like that, you know, not everybody, but it was like that stepchild. You just kind of pay attention to it, make sure it's fed, you know what I mean? And it's just, but it's always there, ready, waiting to be loved. And that's what I felt barbering was, you know what I mean? Like it was there, I fed it, I made sure it was good, I made sure it kept, you know, me going. But when I finally embraced like that, it was
time,
always there. It was always waiting for me to just take it.
in.
Take it.
What about you, Marissa? How did you start it in the industry?
Well, I could have been alongside Selena because I wanted to be a barber 20 plus years ago.
Oh, okay.
So I cut my nephew's hair gave him his first haircut. He's like 25 now. So I've always wanted to do it. I felt like it's always been in my heart. So about 20 years ago, I went to my mom, and I've already been through college and graduated, and she was a hairstylist, and she was about 20 years in at that point. She started right out of high school. And so, and I was like, Mom, I was like so excited, my mom and my dad, and I was like, I want to be a barber. I want to follow your footsteps. See, she's not a barber, but you know, in the industry.
Yeah,
And
she's
she
a
was like-
cosmetologist.
And she was like, no, mijita. She's like, I want better for you. She's like, you have to discipline yourself with 401k, with insurance, with retirement. You're on your feet all day. So she made it seem very unappealing. So I listened to my mom and her advice.
Yeah.
She knows best, right? So you
I think that's a lot of
I
people.
mean, imagine if I was a barber now, 20 years, where I could, if I had that same motivation then as I do now. But anyway, hindsight. So here I am, 20 years later. I'm still having to discipline myself with 401k and retirement. I'm a painter, I paint houses, and I work for myself. And probably working harder than just standing on my feet, you know?
Right.
So we finally made a decision that, you know, my wife and I opened a salon, and I said, well, now it's time to follow my passion, because I can be 60 years old on a beach somewhere cutting hair for margarita money versus 60 years old on a ladder painting a house. So that's what I did. So 39. So if we take anything away from this interview, like, you're never too old to reinvent yourself.
I like
Right.
that. I like what that you said.
Because
that.
I started mid like 34, 33 also,
So
you know.
Selena's 38-ish, right?
I'm almost
Right.
We're supposed to talk about a woman's age.
Sorry. Not that important. And so she's 20 years in already, a veteran, and here I am barely starting, and I'm older than she is, you know?
Yeah, you know what's funny about both of your guys' story? That you were both passionate about it, but never took it serious until now. So the passion was always there. Your passion was there, but you wanted to do music.
Yeah.
Your passion was there, but you wanted to do what was the right thing to do. And at the end of the day, we're still sitting here. We're
Yeah.
still barbers.
It's
We're
amazing.
still cutting hair.
It's
You know.
absolutely amazing.
And it's funny because it's like you don't realize how much that could impact your life. Like for example, Selena, you're sponsored by Exotics, right?
Yeah.
And Marissa, you have your own line going on, right? Which is Good Vibes.
Good Vibes. I started it in school because I needed a way to pay for school because all the painting and work that we do has to go to the household. So, I mean, I applied for every scholarship and I was fortunate enough to get two. I got 2 different scholarships, but I started my own line, t-shirts, razors, things like that.
Scholarships for barber school, yeah?
For barber school. So
Grant-
one was through
grants?
Keller International. They have the beauty line and barber line of different equipment, things like that. So I just submitted a video. I got one through there and then one locally as well. So, and then I just started the line and that helped me pay for school. So now I've just carried it on and bless everybody with good vibes.
Yes.
That's
what's
dope.
up.
That
So
is
what is
so
Good
dope.
Vibes? What is that?
Anything and everything could be good vibes.
Okay.
Anything. Not just barbering, it could be your daily life, it could be walking down the street, just talking to somebody, saying hello. I mean, giving off your good energy to somebody, that's an amazing thing. Like, you could be having a bad day, and I'm like, hey man, how's it going?
Yeah.
And you're like, hey. Like, oh yeah, it's really not that bad. So, good vibes is just the way that I am. Like, I can turn any negative situation into something
That's
positive.
dope. That's dope.
Always.
That
And
is
so
dope.
when I was trying to come up with everybody has a slogan or a name or something for Instagram, and I was kind of struggling with it a little bit, and then I kind of wanted to do blessed because I feel like I'm definitely blessed in my life, but there's already somebody out there, and I was like, well, I'm gonna do beyond blessed because I know I'm beyond blessed. And then I was like, no, because then they're gonna think that I'm better than they are when I'm just starting out. So then I just came.
I'm
up
beyond blessed.
I'm beyond blessed starting, and I'm like beyond blessed everybody else.
So I just came up with good vibes because that's just me.
That totally
And
suits
I
her.
try to
That's your
surround myself.
personality and
Yeah.
always just being positive and striving for more. And I see that in you because I've seen you from when you started at barber school to now when you're already a licensed barber. You're working for what is it, Landmark?
Landmark.
With
And I think that's so dope. Like, if you can have a message out there for somebody right now, like, what would it be?
You're never too old to reinvent yourself.
Never
I love
told
that.
her. Yeah, I like that one too.
And no matter what it is that you're doing, like if Selena's been in the industry 20 years, she can still reinvent herself and be that role model. She can come up with her own line of products. There's always more.
Something more.
There's always more.
More, and I like that you hit that you say there's always more because people think literally that you just have to sit behind the chair and cut hair all day long. And there's just so much more that you can do. Like, for example, tell us about your sponsorship with Exotics.
It's really more just being a part of a team. You know, you say sponsored barbers and right away you think, oh, you're doing this, you're getting, flown everywhere, and it's really bigger than that. It's the team. It's knowing that I can call Curtis as a mentor and have one of the best in the game tell me, well, here's what I think, and say the truth and take that constructive criticism. So, sorry, I got a little lost. What was the question?
How your sponsorship came about with Exotics.
Oh yeah, well, so it just, it was just putting me out there. I had just done my first barber battle, headliners barber battle, and I got first place. And I was just like blown away. Like I'm 33, almost 34, and I'm.
How many years ago was that?
That was 5 years ago.
5
Was
years
that
ago.
here?
Yeah. Oh wait, 2014. So
Right
yeah,
here.
5 years ago. Yeah.
So here's the award.
So fix your story and then I have a little add-on to
All
that.
right,
Okay,
So-
fix your story.
After I did that battle, I got so hungry, and I was just like, I need to do more. So my second battle was the Exotics Barber Tour, the hair battle tour, and it was in Vegas. I didn't place, but because there was like 27 people in the battle, it was crazy. And like I let somebody use my tools beforehand, and like,
Big mistake.
dude, yeah, I'd never do that again. But I was trying to help out. My clippers came apart mid haircut. it was intense, but Curtis was walking around and I'm standing there blow drying the hair, and he walks past me and then I just see him go ding 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 like backwards, and he looks at me and he goes, "Get my number when you're done." And I was like, I don't care if I got third, second, first, 28th. I don't give a fuck. I got somebody that appreciates not even just a barber, but a lady barber with skills.
Exactly.
And I got his number that day, and we're here right now, and he's still supporting me. I could call anybody on the team and get the best advice from the best in the game.
That is
And it's just it's so sincere. It's absolutely amazing. So I wasn't out there. I didn't even know about that type of sponsorship or team barber. You know, it just happened. It was just a natural thing that happened, and he gave me that opportunity, and I wasn't gonna let it go.
Mhm.
You know, there's a saying like, you missed your boat. I feel like I've missed my boat a lot of times on certain things in life, and this time I wasn't gonna miss that boat.
This
you know?
was
This was it, and it was a part of my passion, and you know, it's just very, very chill, and you know, it helps me, of course, because it advances me to be a better barber,
Mhm.
but really just being on a team with such amazing, influential people is just, it's blessed. It's beyond blessed.
beyond
Yeah.
that. How hard was it for you in the industry being a female?
Oh man, how much time we got? So, I've told my story a few times as being a female. You know, obviously I was very good right out the jump. You know, I'm a third generation barber. If I wasn't good right out of barber school, then, you know, so the personality I have and being a very strong woman, I was like, man, as soon as I step in that shop, it's a wrap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's like,
Aw.
you're sitting there while everybody else is cutting hair. The shop is packed, and you're sitting there doing nothing. Your tools are clean. Your tools are oiled. You're ready to turn that machine on and just go to town. But nobody wants to give you
A chance.
a
Just
chance.
for the simple fact.
Just
that
for
you're
the
a
simple
female.
fact that I'm a female. And I was a cute female when I was younger, so. I used to wear super.
Well, it's probably a little bit of both.
But I'm just talking shit. I'm just talking shit.
Probably a little bit of being a new barber,
A new
because I think we've
barber,
all
yeah.
been there too, but a new female
A
barber.
new female barber. So, what I did out of barber school, thankfully I was blessed to work at Johnny Gibson's barber shop. And if you live here in Tucson, you know about Johnny Gibson. He's like a legend barber here in town. They even have a market named after him downtown. Like, he just did so much for Tucson.
Nice.
So I was very blessed. Just kidding.
That's like a key word for
Yeah, that's like the Pee Wee's
Yeah.
play. I was like the special word where everybody goes. But so he was looking for barbers. I was 2 weeks away from taking my barber's test. So I actually worked for those 2 weeks with without a license, took the test, and then I was like a full-time barber, you know what I mean? So, but luckily for me, that was a quantity barbershop.
Mhm.
So even if you kind of were a girl, it didn't matter because there's like
It was
18,
packed all the
20
time.
people. But as you kind of step it up a little bit, you got a little more options. That's when the snubbing started happening, like bad, really bad. And I think it's dope nowadays that some of these younger barbers, they don't even like to be called lady barbers. They don't even
They
like
just
to
wanna
be
be
called
called
female
barbers.
barbers,
Yeah,
which is cool. But I keep that standard because I was that lady barber.
Yes.
I was that female barber, and I had nobody in my chair. And you know, but I would ask, and I'd make sure I wasn't just sitting there. If I wasn't cutting hair, I had my tool open, I was doing something.
Right.
And I was sweeping. I always
yeah.
stayed busy. I never just sat there and sulked about the moment. But I felt it. It hurt.
It was a struggle, and
It
that was
hurt,
what,
yeah.
like 20 years ago?
Yeah,
I
about
think?
19 years ago. But I mean, even still, I told
Yeah.
you like not even 2 weeks ago.
Right.
I don't get walk-ins, but a random walk-in came in and he like stopped dead in his tracks. Are you the one cutting hair? Yeah. Do you know how to cut hair? I'm like standing in a barber shop like, no. Dude. And I did. I said, you know, as a matter of fact, there's a
There's a
barber
salon
shop.
right
And you
down
know
here.
what? There's a
Yeah.
shop full of unlicensed barbers down the street. They'll completely take care of you, G.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? But but that's the old me coming out. But you know, it was hard. And then, so I went from being that lady barber here, and I decided, well, I want to move to Philadelphia. So
Wow.
So I went from, I was like,
Just like Philadelphia.
well, I had an ex, she was from the area, and I was DJing. So, I wanted to move to the East Coast and get that, and I did had a label that people were working on, and they were looking at me, so I knew if I went up there, I'd have the opportunity. You know what I mean? So
You don't want to put it back on, right?
that was my dream.
What about, and that was 19, 20 years ago, right? And you
Yeah.
still went
Well,
through
okay,
that
so that was
struggle.
like 2003. So try being only female, young female.
So were you licensed in Philly?
No.
Oh, okay. So you did move to Philly.
I did everything else, but Philly takes apprenticeship, so you don't necessarily have
Oh,
to have a license
you
now.
don't need your license
Nah.
then.
Back then, there's a lot of good Philly barbers, even ones that are on Instagram that don't have a license, but that's
Okay.
because their apprenticeship program is cool, so I didn't have to do it.
It's
But
just different laws
Yeah.
here and
Yeah.
over there.
yeah, but it was hard. Sorry, I got a little off topic, but you go to the East Coast and it's way stronger. You can't mess hair up over there. They know what's up.
Yeah.
So it was even harder, but you know what, I did it, and I came back a bigger, better barber from living in Philly, from working in New Jersey, because they were doing all this stuff that's happening right now, the
Yeah.
Beijing, the
Stuff.
color, the beard, it ain't new.
Right.
Sorry to say it ain't new, it's new to you, but it ain't new, you know what I mean?
And that's because I feel like the East Coast gets all that stuff first,
Yeah.
and then we get it last.
Yeah.
So you learned that like
Yeah.
way before we
Yeah.
did, and right now it's trendy, it's cool, it's
Yeah.
new, it's popular, but it was really going on
Oh yeah,
a long
it's
time
been
ago.
going on, and we actually used to have, not only with the color, we had the black artist pencils,
Okay.
where you just kind of rip the thread and it keeps
Oh,
going
I've
down.
seen those,
So
yeah.
if somebody had a little light spot here, a little light spot here, we'd literally just get the pen.
Yeah, yeah.
And, when you're doing, with more curly hair, more urban type, more African American, you can wear that cut for 2-3 days.
Mhm.
You don't want to wash the curl out. You know what I mean? So that enhancement,
Right.
it's been going on.
That's amazing how you just, and that's just from your experience because you
Yeah.
went from Arizona to Philadelphia.
It was
and
scary.
You got to see all that stuff that we don't see
Yeah,
now.
it was
you know,
super
and
cool.
That's just your personal
Mhm.
experience.
Yeah.
And now, what about you, Marissa? Being a barber in this era, because I was a barber 15 years ago and she was 19 years ago. It's very different. Like we struggle to get a customer in our chair. How is it for you? Do you feel the
I've only
difference?
had one bad experience, and it was in school. And I wouldn't even call it a bad experience. So a dad came in with his boys, and I mean, you're paying $5 for a haircut. I mean, geez, yeah, I mean, you're gonna get a student no matter what,
Yeah.
And so I just remember, like, I was told who was next and whatnot. So I waved the gentleman on over, and I said, I'm ready for you. And then he just kind of looked around frantically and didn't know what to do. And then he just kind of got his son and pushed him because he was next. You know, and because his boys were already set with who and where he was gonna go, and to me it just kind of hurt my feelings because I know what he was doing. I know what he was doing. I mean, nobody had to say anything, but that's the only experience that I've had. Thankfully, since I've been licensed and in the barbershop, I haven't.
So you're saying you really haven't had that experience?
No.
How to deal with the client that doesn't
No,
want a
thank
lady
God.
barber?
And
That's awesome though.
I'm
That's
sure if I
great.
was in it 20 years ago,
Yeah.
most definitely I would have. But fortunately, I haven't had to deal with it.
Well, that's good.
But everybody, the generation before paves the way for people to not have to experience what they experience.
Yes.
In anything, barbering,
Yeah.
And not that
anything
it's
you
a
wanna
bad
think
thing,
about,
not that
It's
it's
not
a bad thing, it's just the experience
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you do kind of get your feelings hurt because
Yeah.
you're like, you'd rather sit with somebody that doesn't know what they're doing when I have a little bit more experience.
I'm like,
than
dude,
they do, but-
that started yesterday.
Yeah.
And you want to get your haircut by
Yeah.
But
then.
it's
Yeah.
funny because going through that, at the time, I didn't realize the character that was breeding inside of me, you know what I mean? So every time it would hit or it maybe hurt, I didn't realize that 10 steps ahead, I just learned in
Yeah.
humbleness and building a strong character and being that person. So you know what? I feel blessed that no, just kidding. Yeah, all right, that's it, it's all done. That I was able to go through that because naturally I'm a very ego-driven type
Okay.
of individual personality. And you know what, sometimes you need things like that in your life to
To
kinda
humble you down.
humble you. And you know what, I was just right now when I just remember this while we're talking. I remember sitting in the chair, everybody's packed, shop is packed, and this gentleman's on the phone. What do you think? Well, should we give the girl a try? Well, I don't know. She's the only one open. Well, let me know. Call me back. You know what I mean? No, it's after Billy in 2003.
gotcha.
They already.
So they had to ask, and he had to call his
So
friend.
he probably was talking to his wife. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But just to like have to sit there and listen to that conversation, it builds character. And I'm super glad that people like Marisa, people like all these other young barbers that are out that might not have to go through that, but you know what we did. And I'll use the title lady barber and female barber, not because I'm trying to separate myself, but because
That's what we went
that's
through.
what we went
through.
through.
That's our
You know,
story
and
and our
that's-
struggle.
I'm appreciative of that title because yes, I am a lady barber, and
Yeah.
goddamn it, I'm
Dope.
fucking
Yeah.
good.
See, what's funny about that for me is like every time anybody's ever brought that up to me before about the struggle, I'm like, come on, no, it's not.
Yeah.
No, man, you don't know.
I don't know.
You
but
don't know.
So
But
I know
that's-
you guys
yeah.
don't know much about me, but
Yeah, yeah.
I've been cutting hair for like 3 years now.
Okay,
So I think I might have seen you at the Clipper Combat.
probably.
Yeah, so
I
like
did
Clipper
like a
Combat out
lady
here
style.
a few years ago.
A few years ago I joined, I didn't win nothing, but the last one, I did a ladies cut. And I
Yeah.
placed second,
Oh,
you
wow.
know what I mean?
Cool.
So,
Nice.
yeah, but that was pretty cool. But,
Yeah.
you
So
know,
I mean,
yeah.
for me coming up, and it's like I see both sides. I see the side of people that will walk in and sit with me as a brand new barber over the two girls who've been cutting hair for 15 years because they come in, they say, I'll never let a girl cut my hair. And I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, well, it sucks for you because I've been cutting hair for, at the time probably for about 6 months as a
Yeah.
licensed barber, and they were putting out cuts twice as clean and twice as fast as what I was doing.
But
And,
the science and the psychology of that, I mean, it's just fine. I think it goes to anything though. A female doctor, a female
You're
cop.
right.
Yes.
You're
You know
right.
what I mean?
You're
So
right.
it's
Yeah.
just part of the system.
A
It's
predominantly
part of, you know,
male-dominated
yeah.
industry that
Yeah.
women are
Well,
slowly starting to get
I
involved
think
in.
it's great though that you think that now because that's the mentality we really wanted and
Yeah.
needed
Yeah.
15 years ago, 20 years ago.
See,
even
for me, I
before,
think it's
you know?
different though, because I grew up mainly going to stylists to get my
Mm-hmm.
hair done. So my mom was going to get her hair done, and she's like, "Hey, I'll bring you along. There's got to be
So it's
something that they can
nothing
do.
to
So
you.
you
Can do
were
men's
used
haircuts."
to
So I was used to
seeing-
women cutting my hair.
Yeah.
I'm like, "What do you mean? Why would you care if a girl cuts your hair?" But that's the difference between the barber side and the cosmetology side, right? Is that if you grew up going to barber shops and your dad always
Yeah.
took you to a male barber
Yeah.
for the last 15 years of your life, and now you got to sit with a female, that might be a little bit.
Which is fine. A father and a son going to a barbershop,
It's a whole
it's
different
beautiful. Now that they say that, I understand because,
Yeah.
and I think it's great that they have men like you to support because that's what we always wanted. Literally, that's what we always wanted. You know,
Yeah.
we depend on men as a society to be the stronger one, the one to guide us, and that's what we need in the industry as women.
Yeah, but
personally.
you know what? If we would have never went through those struggles, it would have never created the women
Yeah.
barbers
It
that
wouldn't
we
have.
are now.
Like you said, building character.
Exactly.
It built character.
You learn, you have to, I feel like as a woman barber, as a female barber, you always have to work twice as
We
hard.
do.
You have to work twice as hard to get a client in the chair. You have to work twice as hard to prove yourself. You have to work twice as hard because you want to be that good barber. I don't want to be left behind just because that guy can cut good.
Yeah.
Well, I want to cut better. You know, so if we never went through those struggles, we would have never been where we're at now.
So we wouldn't have
you
been
know
able
what I
to
mean?
lay the foundation for these young ones coming out.
I think
That don't
more
have to
old
tell-
ones.
Or
Like,
older, yeah. But you're a young barber.
Yeah.
But real quick
yeah.
to touch back on that story, so 4 or 5 years ago, you were going to a battle here in Tucson. And so I started school last year, January,
Mhm.
right? And I finished October. But previous to that, I had started Instagram and I started following people because again, it's been my passion. So I think Selena was one of the first ones I started following, being local and whatnot. So we're at Office Max. You probably don't remember me, but this is the story. So you're on your way. I think it was a show Manny was throwing.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. So you're at Office Max, and I told my wife, and I was like, look, she's a barber. And I was following you, and they were like, she's so close to me. Yeah. And I'm like, look, like she's a barber. Like, I'm gonna be a barber too. You know? And then you're like, yo, I need like my business card right now. You don't understand. I'm like being so demanding, and I'm I just remember that always stands out, and like, here we are. So I started following you years ago, because you were
Wow.
like, I looked up to you, you're like a mentor, you didn't even know it, you
She
know?
was an inspiration to
Absolutely,
you.
That's funny.
absolutely.
It sounds
And
just
so,
like me.
I was like, all giddy, you know, when I saw it, and I didn't say hi or anything, but I was like telling my wife, and
Watching me like,
I was just watching you.
in college now.
Yeah.
She was like,
So,
you know what? That's the beauty of it.
That's dope.
That's
I'll
the
never
beauty
do
of
that
it.
story. That's
Yeah,
dope.
because like
I deserves a beer.
cheers.
Salute to that. Hey, that's a beautiful story.
gotta open it first.
But see, we never know who's watching us in one way or another. You know what I
Who's your
mean? But,
inspiration?
or who's, yeah, you know, I felt that same way when I met, you know, like Barbara the Slayer and Paris, you know, from Paris is from Exotics, but I felt that same way when I saw them. I was just like, you know what I mean? But that's cool, man, because they inspired me to be better, and you know what I mean, all that jazz.
And I think just seeing everybody's great work is like a motivation. It's an inspiration, you know, because I see you and you're like, you just started, but you have your brand, good vibes, everything's going on, you're pushing, you're going hard. Every competition you're there, you and your wife, and you have everything set up. And then I know Sabina, and she has like this dope story. She's been cutting for like 20 years. And everything that I see in both of you ladies, it's like such a motivation and an inspiration. That's why I want people to hear your guys' story.
Cool.
That it don't matter what you're going through, that you can still reach your goals or reach your dreams.
Yeah, and I told Marisa and her wife Arsenio, I said, man, I wish I met you guys years ago, just because I needed that positivity. Like, I've always been so like negative, and having supportive women, you know, honestly is the greatest thing ever now that I'm older, because you know, when, you know, being gay and even working in a male dominated industry, I was tended to act a lot more, you know, but that's just me, I'm a tomboy, but you know what I mean, I never had like quality women in my life who can say, yeah, that's fine, but listen, embrace yourself as who you are and take it. And now that I do know them, it's like just fucking never ending, actually.
It's like a big barber family. You know?
It is. I mean, I tend to be solo, you know me. I'm like a lone wolf type, but you know what? I can like bring these people in. You know what I mean? Yeah, good vibes.
And it's like cool people, dope people that you can talk to and relate to, no matter what the thing would be. You know, like if you just want to talk to her real quick, and that's what we need more in this industry. We need more positivity, more like connections, more, because I feel like there's just so much hate everywhere, and not just in this industry, everywhere it's out. Like we already live in a cold world, but it's so cool to have that support from ladies like you guys, and be like, hey, what do you think about this? Can I get some advice? Or, you know, vice versa or whatever. Now I had a question for you, being in the third generation. Why not work with your family? Or why not work at your dad's shop? Why choose a different shop or a new shop?
Dude, my dad has fired me so many times. You wanna know why? Because at the end of the day, the last name Fierro, you know, it's iron, strong, it's, you know, and we're all very strong-willed minded. I've worked at my dad's shop plenty of times, but, you know, we work better alone. We're both the boss. You can't have two bosses in one room. And my sister, unfortunately, we have a separate relationship, so I very rarely talk to her, but there's love, and you know, she was there for me. So we just, separation because of issues in family is probably the first reason. But second, with me and my dad, you know, I'm just very free. You know, my dad, he wants that, you'd be here at 9, you know what I mean? I need the freedom. If I start feeling like it's like 9 to 5, like I'm a robot, I go to work, like I don't want any of that, you know what I mean? So that's kind of how it felt, which is fine, you know, a lot of people like that type of discipline and that structure, but it was time to get on my own and just do my own thing.
Your own thing.
When me and my dad work together, it's really good. It's so weird, we kind of get on a rhythm and we start working at the same pace. And because he taught me, and I taught him new stuff, we have the same flow. And I bet after a week or two of working back with each other, it's like a cadence of cutting hair side by side. It's really beautiful. But our egos and our
It's
tendency.
kind of like you guys clash for being
Big
the
time,
same.
big time. All love, Pops. I really love you, but I don't want to be your employee.
And how do you feel now that you have your own space, which is, this is your studio? Well, how do you feel working on your own and
It's just a sense of, like I said, freedom that you can't pay for. You know what I mean? To be able to say, I want to go to LA, I want to go to Colorado, I want to go to Phoenix, I want to go to Miami. That is worth any amount of bank I'm going to put in at the end of the week. And that's what I wanted, because I've been that 9 to 5 barber. I've been the one there, oh, well, now you can go to lunch, now you can go to the bathroom, like, you know, so I feel like I put my time in, and right now, this little space right here, I only work alone. This space right here is freedom that you cannot buy.
yeah?
And that's what I love. Am I rich? Yes. Am I wealthy? Maybe not. But the rich and the wealthy, there's a real thin line, and I'd rather have the richness of life
Yeah.
than the wealthiness
enjoy.
of paper.
What is
Oh,
blessed?
Right?
It's beyond that. But salute to that though.
Love that. Yes, I love that. It's just, and it's just how you're passionate
Yeah.
about it. This is what you do. You come when you feel like you want to come, like, and then you just come and work, do your
Yeah.
thing, and you know, take care of your
Yeah.
clientele.
My
you know?
clientele definitely takes care of me. Awesome, you know, but that's after almost 20 years of doing
Yeah.
this. And even my clients waited for me when I would move and come back,
Wow.
and you know, so but yeah, like I said, the richness of life is way better than the wealth of money.
That's amazing.
That's what
That's
this is.
amazing.
And speaking of passion too, I want to backtrack a little bit too, because I feel like everybody, you know, now kind of knows what you do behind the chair. But tell us more about like Totem Mujeres and what
Oh,
that
yeah.
is, and you know, all of the kind of extracurricular activities you do in the barber industry, aside
Yeah.
from just being behind the chair cutting hair.
So outside of the barber shop, first things first, I sell exotics products. So, you know, I definitely believe in that, and I do like to do events, whether it's hair or anything else that I do. But so I got the idea of Todo Mujeres.
Mujeres.
It was such a
Probably
great
last year around this
show.
time.
Yeah.
And you know, Todo Mujeres, it's, you know, it's all women, you know, that's everything. So, you know, we kind of did a little play on words with mujeres, but
Yeah.
it's basically, you know, it was a show for just us ladies. Of course, the men were, you know, we want everyone
supporting.
involved, but you
Yeah.
know,
So I
it
could've
was
came?
just
I didn't come.
Yes,
I didn't
it
come.
was-
I
she's
wanted
gonna
to
have-
go.
She's gonna have a next one, right? When is your next one?
So, Marisa is gonna collab with me this year, and her wonderful brain of her wife and the wonderful brain of my girlfriend, and
Cool.
it's gonna be 4 strong women, and we're trying to do it for June.
Okay.
And basically the reason why I did it is because we need more of a unity of
Yes.
just us ladies, because like I said before, the whole lady female barber thing, but if we don't step out, we're just in your shadow. We're in the
For sure.
shadow, and which is
Awesome.
cool. So a lot of people find comfort in shadows,
Yeah.
but me, I need to be
Be
blazing.
out there.
And
Yeah.
so
And that's probably why we're sitting right here, right now.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
we stepped out, you know? Because I'm a new barber, I just graduated, right?
Yeah.
And there's plenty of other people who have graduated as well, but they haven't
But they're
stepped
not
out.
as hungry though.
Yeah.
And you know what? I love that about you because you don't care. Like you just step out there and you go and do what you need to do. Other people are afraid.
Yeah.
They're afraid to mention their name. They're afraid to step out. They're afraid to participate. They're just afraid of the world.
Or they're too good.
Or that too. Or their ego is.
Supposedly.
Or their ego is like up here.
But don't get me wrong, I'm afraid. I'm scared as fuck.
Yeah, true.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all? I
But
was
you
super
just have-
nervous before coming over here. You
What
know?
do you want more?
But you take
you
the
know?
risk. You take the risk because you're passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah.
You believe in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you don't believe in yourself, who else is gonna believe in you? Nobody
Exactly,
else.
and that's why I wanted to bring the women together to, you know, just empower and tell our story of this.
Yeah.
Like we had a little skit, you know, Ronnie Mac came in, and I mean, how many
Oh, yeah,
times,
yeah.
how many times, ladies, have you done this? And he comes in, he's like, "You're the only barber here," and I'm like, "Yeah," you know what I mean? Because it happens.
Yeah.
And you know, I feel like we need the unity of like a strong squad of women, you know. There are like her chair, his hair in New York.
Yeah.
She's got a great group of women. She's my barber out of Oakland, you know what I mean? And I just felt like the Southwest needed something like it, and that's where it started.
And even male barbers that promote that.
Yeah.
Male barbers that support
That
that.
support us,
That say,
exactly.
hey,
We had-
check out these women.
I wanna, when we went to that show, it was for women only, but we had male barbers there supporting
That's
what
good.
we were doing.
Yeah.
And that we need more of the support and people to acknowledge the type of work that we do, because we do it with love, we do it with passion.
And we're out here, we're executives, we're CEOs, we're doing it, but
Yes.
it's just the natural male vibe to team up and squad up,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and then us women, it's kind of like, well, I don't want to stand next to her, and I'm not talking
It
shit.
is, it's like that, and that's the reason why I feel like
They
so
could
many
get a
females are
little
coming
carried,
over from
yeah.
the salon world
Yeah.
and stepping into the barber
Yeah.
world.
They like
Because
it
they're
better.
tired of that.
But that's just our
Yeah.
that's just our
Yeah.
natural
Yeah.
state. So
It's
I
just,
wanted,
women are naturally
just
like that.
kinda, me being an even a big old tomboy, I'd still be like, bitch. You know what I'm saying? But
That's her,
Like flips the weave
so
and everything.
I wanted a squad of women who could look beyond
Yes.
that. Who you know, you look at a squad of male barbers or them just out there and they're all standing there like, you know,
They're cool with each
they're
other.
cool. Then they're
Yeah.
building that unity, and the people can see just from them together how dope and
Yes.
unified they are. And that's what I wanted with the women, with
women.
Karla and the ones that I brought along with my little project. And it's just really to empower women in that we can be together. We can be that CEO, we can be that
Right.
boss, we can be that executive. It's not just for the masculine dominated type
So
of
And
mindset.
still be able to support
Yeah.
the next barber next to us.
What can someone expect from coming to a Total Wares event?
So,
Actually,
Is
is
it
there
a
a
barber
date?
battle?
Is there a date?
we're looking for the last weekend of June. We
Okay.
haven't really said it, but June is the month. So
Wait for it, guys.
well, it's coming. That's coming. But the thing that you can expect is that each and every woman that attends will be highlighted.
Okay.
You will be able to stand
That's
up,
dope.
say who you are, say who you work for, and say why you do what you do.
So it's
You
more or
will
less
not-
a networking event.
It's a networking
It's not a
event.
barber
Yeah,
battle,
no
it's
battle.
not,
It's a
nobody's cutting
networking
hair,
event,
nobody's
yeah.
teaching classes.
Yeah.
So we're
It's
looking
a
at bring
networking
in some
event.
education.
Yeah, we're trying
Okay.
to do a little more education based on the money, how to handle your business, how to file taxes, how to do all that stuff that it's super hard for us, you know. And
Right.
then so you know we're thinking we're still gonna, like I said, just wait for it. We don't want to really say anything
Networking
yet,
and education.
but just know that you won't just be
You
a
won't be
person in the
disappointed.
audience.
I like that.
You won't just be a person in the audience who doesn't get spoken to, who doesn't get looked at. Whoever attends, you will meet, you will get numbers, and you will speak to the crowd.
Do
You're
you
gonna walk
host this
away-
in Tucson or do you host this in Phoenix?
Tucson.
In Tucson. Cool.
You'll walk away with some sort of knowledge. You're gonna walk away with something.
And you know what, now that we're mentioning this, I feel like all those important events, because they are very important, I think they're important, we need both education and unity. It all happens here in Tucson. Have you noticed that?
I have. I feel like it's starting to branch out, but I feel like as an industry, Tucson's kind of on the map, and
Yeah.
Phoenix is slowly starting to catch
You
up.
wanna know who put us on the map? Manny put us on the map.
Yeah.
Made Fresh put us on the map. You know what? In all honesty, we're all just doing what he showed us to do.
Right.
And maybe people are doing it bigger or on another level, but the unity and all of us bringing the barber scene here,
Yeah.
that man brought it to us.
That's awesome.
And we're hungry. We're a small city. So like even with just being a lady barber, we have to work twice as hard
Twice as
to
hard.
get noticed. And it's just
Speaking of Manny, so I knew him as a friend first before I even knew he was a barber through other mutual friends. But once he knew that I was enrolled in barber school, he called me over. I went to his shop and he gave me a pair of seniors and a pair of T-outliners and said,
that's lovely.
"There you go, like get going." Because
Mhm.
I was self-teaching before I went into school because I didn't want to go in blindly. You know, I felt like here I am, older than most. I'm going in, I need to know a little bit of something. So I was watching YouTube videos. I was practicing on my nephews like once a week. They were sitting in the chair like an hour and a half. Tools were getting really hot. I didn't even know.
Tell it, Tia.
No, they wouldn't even complain. So I was like, damn, they're getting fucking out. I was like, is it hot meal? No? Okay. And then I would keep going and they would just sit there. But I mean, thanks to Manny, he gave me my first
That's
set.
fucking
and
true.
then-
That's all.
But you know,
those together.
being from Phoenix too, I met Manny for the first time. I think it was even before the Clipper combat back in like 2015,
Yeah.
and it was all the same love. Like he came down, I think it was for a showcase at Master Fades.
Oh yeah.
And I'm over there picking his brain and
Yeah.
asking questions, and never for a second was it like too much for him to answer a question for me.
Never.
When I'm looking at this shit, like, what are you doing, right? I mean, I had no idea about designs, and
Yeah.
at the time I was brand new to fading, you know.
We got some
And-
good barbers in Tucson,
Yeah.
but anyone who's doing it the way we are, they have to give props to him because he's the one who started it, and we're all just kind of working off of his blueprint. And for some reason, Tucson has gotten recognized a lot. We got
Yeah.
a lot of
Yes.
we got Nicole sponsored by Babyless. We have Phil and there's Motive, and they're even doing their
Barbara
own
Mel.
products. So is Barbara Mel, and she has
You
her own
have Ida Barber.
Badass.
Now, new shop.
badass gold comb right here.
Look at, yeah, that's dope. I like
I
that.
want 50%. No. Just
Yeah,
as
I
being
mean,
a
nothing
human
wrong
being,
with
but
that.
I think a lot of us here are humbled. I'm humbled. You know, when all this new stuff started happening, I was getting into it. You know, I was like, that ain't cool. You know, you don't even know. But what's the difference between me hating on them
Yeah.
than when that old G in the shop was like, I don't know why you guys edge up, and I'll be like, what's
Yeah.
up, old G? It looks dope. Nah, that shit's stupid, and I'll be like. All right, cool. Like, I don't want to be that old G
Yeah.
who did that to me when I was
Right.
in my 20s.
Yeah.
So I don't. Who the fuck am I to be telling these kids don't do
Exactly.
color? You know, I might talk shit that it's already been happening, but they're doing it. And they're the future. The youth
Yeah.
is the future. So I don't want to be that hater. You know what I mean? And things change.
And as a barber, I think we can learn either from an OG barber,
Mhm.
from a veteran, or from a new barber. You
Yeah.
know, because like you said, the new kids are coming up and they're
Yeah.
showing us new
Yeah.
things, and their style is
So
different.
the technique that Nicole Renee taught at the emotive class at Dunbar is what helped me win first place in that last come over. So, you know, with us OGs, we would never go as high, like with, say, a guard. Everything we did was clipper over comb. We never want to go. But see, you know, I don't know who started it or what, but they have this technique that you go up with the 1.5 or, you know, and then you bust out that zero guard.
Mhm.
And that just blends so
Yeah.
you don't even have to think about it. And I had never done that. You know, I never thought to go from a 1.5 to that zero guard.
Yeah.
I always would put like the 1 guard and
Mhm.
cheater with it. You know what I mean? So she taught that in a class. I paid $30 to get in there. I'm an OG. I'm not thinking I know everything. She did that haircut, and I saw that, and I utilize that now in the barbershop with my clients. And
Cool.
you know, she's a younger barber that's killing it, but I wasn't
Yes.
too good to not listen.
And that's the thing, like you have to be, as a barber, you have to be open-minded 100% of the time, where you don't think you're too good to learn something new or too good, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But also like education. I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of barbers become jealous of what they know
Yeah.
and they don't want to share with anybody else. Like, why not pass it down?
Yeah, well, I got a thing with that. So I will never share a secret or something that took me a long time to somebody who won't utilize it.
Right.
Like I've said something to Marisa before that I would never tell anybody else, but
And
I
I
know
still
she.
remember what it is.
Yeah.
And I think about it every time.
Yeah,
I
every time you do it.
What's the
But-
secret?
I can
So
You need about 10 years
Yeah.
under your belt.
I was gonna say, what is the difference between you sharing your knowledge to somebody that's just starting up, or to somebody that you say that person will value
So-
this education?
So if I educate someone who's just starting, I'm gonna give them the bricks that they need to build a foundation. Okay? Once that foundation is built, you know, I might give you a bay window. I might make you a koi pond on the back. But without that, you will not have that beautiful window. You won't have the porch or the. So if I'm in a class of newbies, and you know, you're gonna give them, which I don't do classes all the time because I'm not, you know, really in that, but I want to be. But if that person who comes to me and catches me in the parking lot, or that person who says, oh, you know what, I've been da-da-da-da, I might give a little something to that one, plant a little seed, because you know what, they're showing that they want it. Well,
Right.
I'm not gonna give all my secrets away to just a group of people, you know what I mean? So I think it's dope, yes, but to me, it took me maybe 5 years to learn that. It
It's
took me
because
8 years.
you're bringing value,
Bring value,
and not
yeah.
a whole lot of people
Yeah.
embrace that value, or they just brush it off, or they don't know what the
Yeah.
value is in what you're
Exactly.
saying, and so
I wouldn't just give it to them.
yeah, you have to find somebody who's gonna appreciate that
Like
and
when I
know
was-
what value is.
When I was watching the live feed of your barber association, because I wasn't having to make it Joyce, right?
Yeah.
She said, she said this, all you guys are teaching classes and giving it away for free. So how come, why not? The cosmetologists, not talking smack, but they have complete freedom in the barber world, because, you know, here's barber so-and-so, never took an education class, but now they want $15 to go and listen to them, and they're just giving everything
All the
away.
information.
And it's like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
And Joyce was absolutely right on that.
Let's talk about that a little bit, actually. Let's put that on the map right now.
Okay.
How do you feel about that whole, we do have a thing going on right now, right?
Yeah.
There is.
There's some stuff being passed down through legislation that's going to, I guess in the end, the goal is to deregulate the barber industry. So we talked about this a little bit before, Marissa, you weren't here yet, but there's a bill being passed right now. The issue is this: the government wants to create more jobs here in Arizona, which I'm all for. I'm a barbershop owner, you're a barbershop owner, Karla, you've owned a barbershop.
We own a salon
They
as
own a
well.
salon.
Okay.
Yeah, salons.
Right now, we're at a point where it's hard to employ barbers. I think in the state of Arizona, and don't quote me on this, but there's some upwards of over 100,000 cosmetologists and some only like 8,000 barbers. I have a 4-chair barber shop that I can't find barbers to work in. I have a lot of cosmetologists that are hitting me up and they want to come work at my shop. Unfortunately, I'm not hiring partial service haircutters. You know what I mean? I want to hire barbers. If you're a barber, you're able to use a cutthroat razor. I'm able to offer straight razor shaves. So there's a bill being passed right now. It's called SB 1288. If you guys get a chance, please look this up.
Please, it's very important.
But there's a couple of things on this bill. One of them has to do with superfluous hair, which means that as a cosmetologist, this is a cosmetology bill, not on a barber bill, but as a cosmetologist, you're allowed to remove superfluous hair by means other than waxing or electrotherapy, right?
So do you want to define what superfluous hair is for people maybe who don't know?
Okay, so superfluous hair is hair growth above the neck, the overgrowth of hair above the neck on women.
So it's very light.
It's very light. There's a lot. There's a lot of it's open to interpretation. So if you can, that means for a cosmetologist that you're able to use
Razor.
a knife, a razor,
Sword.
a tweezer,
A sword.
a sword, right? So as a barber, I think all we wanted to say is probably the removal of superfluous hair, because superfluous is specific to women. They're not talking about doing straight razor shaves with a medical grade scalpel, but I think that's what it's geared towards, is that estheticians who have an esthetician license are able to do facials and the removal of superfluous hair, which is overgrowth of hair on
Super
women,
micro,
with a medical grade scalpel, right? So I think what I would like to see is that they include the cutthroat razor on there by means of A, B, and C, but not by use of a cutthroat straight blade.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
You know what I mean?
if you weren't trained with it, oh no, this is so weird, because there's cosmetologists that are doing barbering now. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Well, they're calling themselves barber because they're doing men's hair.
Because they're doing men's hair, yeah, but they just have a
And they're not barbers.
license.
You know,
I
so
mean,
that's
I
kind of
like
the
to
thing that
keep
keeps
it
it separate
separate.
right now.
I'd
Yeah.
like to keep it separate. I think it's very necessary to keep it separate, because you're learning two different things. You know what I mean? As I did learn how to color and do perms and all that, but I didn't want to basic. Would I be trustworthy for a woman to come in here, or anybody who
Right.
wants a perm, man or woman, and be like, yeah, I learned that back in 1999,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and do it.
Right.
And then I burn their scalp.
Right.
and then I burn their ear or whatever, and then they sue me, and the next thing you know, everything I have is gone. Like
Right.
you do training based on what you're gonna do when you get out.
Right.
Yes, were there other people in my barber school that wanted to do more color when they got out? Yeah, so they paid more attention to that. So, you know, I think if you weren't trained on it, if you didn't get it, the proper instruction from somebody who'd been doing it for decades, and, you know, you
probably
gotta
shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't be doing it, yeah.
I think it's only fair, for say like a cosmetologist wanting to be a barber, wanting to do barber things, to get the adequate, I would say,
Training.
training,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Just-
let me ask you guys this, so right now there is talk about, and I couldn't find the specific bill, but there's talk about, right now, the statute is if you're a licensed cosmetologist and you've put in your 1,600 hours, in order to become a licensed barber, you need 750 hours. So what they're talking about doing is lowering it to 350 hours to become a barber.
I think it's fair.
I
Yeah,
think it's
because you
super
already
fair.
put a lot of time
Yes.
in there with the cosmetology license. 350 is definitely sufficient.
And also at the same time, what that's doing is like we're allowing more people to pass through the barber exam.
Yeah, so we can have more barbers.
So you can have essentially twice as many people filtering through the process at a time and making it easier for people like me to hire
Barbers.
predominantly cosmetologists
Yeah.
that are also dual licensed.
That's why I like to
Which
work
is an
alone,
asset,
because
too.
it's hard to find people. I could imagine the stress of being a own, like how you do, how you guys do. You know
It's
what I mean?
hard.
It's there's
Absolutely.
people aren't qualified.
Yeah.
The you know, to start a whole nother subject, the amount of unqualified barbers, licensed or unlicensed, is through the freaking roof right
Right.
now. I mean,
Super saturated.
it's ridiculous. Back in the day, there wasn't the abundance of shitty barbers that there are now.
Right,
I mean, if you went to a shop there, south side, west side, north side, you were gonna get a good cut because they were all being taught the value, the tradition, the
Right.
way you're supposed to do it.
right.
Now it's like gambling. Like, whoa,
Anybody can
am I
do it.
gonna get a good one? Am I gonna get a bad one?
Right.
And the
But I think
things-
too, like barbershop owners are hiring
Oh, yeah,
anybody.
totally.
If you know how to
Totally.
cut hair, you can work at my
Totally.
shop because I need
Totally.
to hire barbers. Like I've been at a point in my shop for a long time where I wasn't able to take walk-ins because I
Yep.
didn't have enough barbers to service the people walking in.
That
So I'm
sucks.
sending these people away. So now that I do have a barber that's in there waiting for walk-ins, everybody knows I'm not doing walk-ins.
Yeah, and they're just sitting there kind of.
Right,
Yeah.
so now my barber that's in there waiting for walk-ins, I'm not getting any
Yeah,
walk-ins
it's
because
hard.
all the people that have been coming for the last almost a year now,
Yeah.
I'm having to send away and say, hey,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm only doing appointments at this time.
So, you know, the way I feel is you're a business owner and you're hiring unlicensed people, then you shouldn't be a shop business owner. Like, you're
Right.
doing it just for the
Right.
money, you're doing it just
It
for the look,
sucks.
you're doing it, and, you know, I'm very passionate about it. If you probably ask anybody what my name and that goes to, people be like, well, she always talks shit about unlicensed barber. And it's not that, it's because the passion, the love of the trade. For every $15 haircut that an unlicensed barber does, unlicensed barber, they're taking that money out of, say, us, who went to school, who struggled.
Who we
And,
are,
and
yeah.
it's just absolutely ridiculous, the amount. So, so let me ask you guys a question. Being from Phoenix, how do you think Barber Board is handling this with just 3-4 people maybe?
Yeah.
You have a whole state, and there's only 3 or 4 of them that actually
Mhm.
govern the whole entire state?
Right.
So
And-
how do you guys deal with that in Phoenix, with having even more unlicensed barbers than we do here in Tucson?
You know, I think that ever since there was a change in the barber board,
Mhm.
you hardly ever see the
I don't
barber
see it.
board at
Well,
the shop.
well, the thing is that their hands at this point are kind of tied.
Yeah.
They are.
Because
they are.
they're going up
Yep.
against V's, Supercuts, Great Clips, Sports Clips,
But you know what?
Floyd's, who have
Yeah,
well,
Floyd.
probably a lot more money
Yeah.
than they're able to deal with. So
Yeah.
if they have to take this to legislation, and this is what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to inform everybody so when the time comes and we have to go at bat for the state, for Arizona State Barber Board, we're gonna have, let's say 1,500 people
We need
that are
voices.
on
Yeah.
board
Yeah.
to either allowing or not allowing certain
Yeah,
bills to
yeah.
pass.
We need voices.
Right, but
we
there's
need
never been a
department
voice.
too,
So
Never.
Joyce and Sam and Bo are showing up to these things and there's nobody backing them up and they're like, all right, so it's not the barber board
Yeah.
Barbers
Yeah,
board's job
yeah.
to stand up
Okay.
against what the governor's trying to tell them what they can or can't do. It's their job to enforce it, right? It's the same thing. I'm a military man. In the military, you say a sergeant passes down to the corporal passes down to the lance corporal, and that's just what it
That's
is.
just
It's
what
your
it is,
job to enforce and do what the corporal told you to do,
Yeah.
which is passed down from the sergeant, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Now, it's not the barber board's job to fight these things, whether they believe in it or they don't believe in it.
Yeah.
It's our job to fight for
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we
You're
fall
absolutely
back.
right.
We fall back into that. I think we've missed everything that we've been doing and what we
Yeah.
do it for. I think we don't take care of that area.
Yeah, we
I
don't.
think we're just so into like how much money we're gonna make and our little picture on Instagram that we forgot about all this other important
Well, I
stuff.
don't think that we forgot. I'll tell you that. I don't think we forgot. I think that what's going on is there's not a hub for information.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like I'm pretty heavy in the Instagram game. And I don't even know who you are. I didn't know who you were until this first barber battle.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And I feel like you're super heavy into the game.
Yeah.
But until I met you through her,
Yeah.
I didn't really know who you were.
Yeah.
I've seen you 50 times,
Yeah.
but we've never even met.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I don't know what your Instagram is. There's people out there that are putting out constant information, but I'm wondering, like, why don't I know? Like, there's not that many barber battles going on. There's not that many networking events going on. How come I don't know about all of them?
Yeah.
And I follow nothing but barbers.
But you know what? It's because the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the barber board is fear. Honestly.
Yeah.
Everybody is afraid of the barber board.
And they shouldn't
They,
be.
it
They
should,
shouldn't
not
Because they should
be.
stay ready.
Exactly.
They shouldn't get ready.
Exactly.
When somebody said, when he sent out that thing the other day,
Oh, shit,
you know,
talking.
I heard that the board might be in town.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't have to hurry up and
Yeah, yeah,
scurry
yeah.
and get ready.
Yeah.
You should be ready.
Should be ready,
That's the way
yeah.
I operate all the time.
But that's the thing, I feel like because we are afraid of that, we don't pay attention or we don't look for research ourselves. Before the barber board, they used to send out newsletters.
Oh, yeah, they did the
and
newsletters. Yeah.
information, and we had access to that
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
Now we really
We
don't
just got
care.
complacent.
Yeah.
We just got complacent and, how are we gonna, who cares? That's not my problem. I'm licensed. I could just stay there. But it's so oversaturated right now.
Yes.
So what's happening is it's breaking through. The barber board had a grasp and we had a very healthy fear of the barber board because we were respectful. This is a trade. We learned. We got a license. So when they came in, very respectful.
Yes.
Now it's fear. Now it's
Yeah.
disrespect. Now it's disgust. And so you got 3 people, literally, in the whole state of Arizona trying to hold on to this, and it's
Exactly,
broken.
yeah.
And
It's
check
broken.
check this out. Essentially, the goal is to combine the two state
Yeah,
boards,
I don't know about
cosmetology and barbering. Like, if you think 3 people isn't enough,
that.
imagine doing away with barber board, and imagine where that's going to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So,
The only thing, like, they're holding us accountable to the things
Yeah.
that we already know that we're supposed to be doing. If you walk in and you're using dirty tools on your
Yeah.
customers, that's why we go to school,
Yeah.
right? We go to school to essentially keep the public safe
Keep the
from-
public safe.
Exactly.
from transmitting
Yeah.
diseases from one to another. If I'm
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
a haircut on a kid that's got lice and I take those same clippers and use them on the next person, I'm giving that next person a
Yeah.
disease. You know
So
what I mean?
my biggest thing with all that is that not only do we learn, the cleanliness and the tools we have to use, we're also learning diseases, skin
Yes.
diseases. Like, I don't know about you, you've been in it for a few years, you the longest, but I've called out cancer rashes.
Mhm.
I've called out tumors underneath kids' ears, on the neck, and these are all things that parents aren't doing. Get over here. You know what I mean? How often does that happen? And
Yeah.
and if you're unlicensed or if you're in
They won't
a
know.
field that didn't study that, how are you gonna tell them?
Yes.
How are you gonna tell the little kid's mom, hey, come here. Have you noticed this rash right here? Have you noticed this bump that your son has, your daughter has? That's what we're there for. We're there for that. Now, when you're just unlicensed and you're cutting kids with lice and you're cutting cancerous rashes and you're cutting alopecia and you're cutting rosacea and all this stuff.
Seborrheic dermatitis.
Yeah, like, what are you doing? Yeah, there you go. That's pretty good.
That's a good one.
Man,
That's the most common one.
Yes.
That's the most common one,
But-
seborrheic dermatitis.
How are you gonna tell your client that? If you can literally tell, when you've had a client long enough, you can tell, have you been sleeping? Are you depressed?
Mhm.
What's wrong? Are you eating good? You can tell the depletion of life through people's hair.
Right.
And if you are not on that mindset and you did not go to school to learn
Yeah.
that, then
And a lot of people realize the severity of it all. I mean, we control, like through haircuts and lights and ringworm and things like that, the health of our community. Imagine,
Yes, it's a
nobody
huge
paid
deal.
attention
It's
to
a
that,
huge deal.
it's a huge
it
deal.
would be a huge epidemic if things just got out of hand.
Yeah.
But you need to be educated first.
Yeah, why do you
Right.
think
I love
we weren't, why do you think we were surgeons or looked at as doctors?
Surgeons.
Hey, homie, grab me that book right there, right behind you, open up that case, right there. No, straight up, let me.
No, I love that.
Oh.
Because that's what we're lacking in this
Yeah.
in the barber
Can't-
community,
oh.
education.
Yeah, you could do a bomb ass
We
thing,
are not
but then you just,
educated enough.
you just miss this
You just gave him
disease.
MRSA.
Yeah, now your client has MRSA, but goddamn, look at
Yeah,
that
that
haircut.
haircut's fire,
Yeah.
but you gotta cut off this whole part of your head now.
That's
So-
fucking dope.
So, a couple students from Hollywood Barber College gave me this as a gift before they graduated. Okay, this is the 1938 edition. It says
Show it to the camera,
Yeah, it
please.
says Manual on Barber Practice and Science.
Show it over there, over
a
here,
science.
right here.
Where are we at? Oh,
Right
right,
there.
okay. Manual on Barber Practice and Science. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people be like, no, that's how it was back in the day. No, this does not change. This does not change. This is a
Education.
1938 edition, but this book was made in 1932. And you can still open it and read the same thing from 1932 that the barber books have right now.
Still
And,
applies
and
today.
there is a science. You need, I'm an artist and I break rules all the time, but sometimes you need to learn the rules
Yes.
before you can break them.
I
And
love
right,
that.
and in barbering, you do not skip levels.
Cool.
You do not skip levels at all. You need to learn the science before you learn the art.
I fucking love that shit. I just fucking.
I mean, it's
I know, like
palabra. I mean, like word.
You know what it relates to? It's passion.
Yes.
It's passion.
Because
Because you're passionate, but
the young
passionate
people
about what you
or
do.
old people or whomever that are out there being unlicensed,
Yeah,
they don't really care about
they
it.
don't
Yeah.
care.
They care about the money.
The money.
And so they're out there cutting hair and they're not educated. And they're not going to school because they're not passionate about it. Because if they were passionate about it,
They
go to
would
school.
learn everything.
And they would learn anything and
Mhm.
everything that you can about the industry.
You know what? I think you guys should do an education class on something like this. Like we need it.
Seriously,
You know what I
we need to almost
We need-
backtrack
we
a little
do,
bit,
yes.
start getting away
Like,
from
we don't-
I mean,
haircuts
we
and
don't
then
look
talk
right
more
here.
about the history
We
of
don't
barbering.
talk about this enough.
No, we don't.
We
Look,
don't.
the barber was then permitted to do only bloodletting, tooth pulling, and cauterizing. We are here. We are the closest thing to a human being other than surgeons and doctors.
Yep.
So if you don't, I don't care if you do a badass design or a badass haircut, if you cannot help the physical health of your client,
For real, I swear, that's just fucking dope.
science. It's science.
It's science.
Very easy.
It's in the book. It's on the internet. It's on the internet. It's on the internet.
Google,
It's
Mr. Google.
Yeah.
Oh, I learned how to cut hair online.
Yeah,
Cool. You learned the fundamental. You learned the test.
right,
Read books. Barber school.
right.
Please.
Please. I mean, that
I
is
agree
what
with
it
that.
is.
I
It is
agree.
what it is.
Not that we have anything against those unlicensed barbers, but
I don't,
it's
but that's
important.
passion.
It's important.
It's
yes.
important.
We need to know the little things. You know, I think those are the most important things in our industry.
Yeah.
And
So to kind of touch on that, so I was talking about like a hub for information.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we created something.
Yeah.
So Alan May from 12th Street Barbershop, shout out, son.
he's been working
He's
really
been working
hard.
his ass off.
Really
and
hard
really,
to get all the information
really
out.
networking and trying to personally reaching out to people and having conversations with people that he's never even really met in real life. So he's finding people on Instagram. If they're willing to sit down and talk with him, he's on the phone.
Yes.
I think that aside from the 10 hours that he's putting in his shop every day, he's probably spending another 4 hours personally calling people to
Oh, wow.
inform them of everything that's going on
That's
right
cool.
And you know what? You gotta give it to him because and people don't pay attention, and I know he gets really frustrated, but he's a passionate barber that loves what he does, and he's concerned about everything that's going on. I don't think we're taking it serious enough. You know, we're not taking it serious enough, but the only way to fight this is to do it together. Together as...
Too many people feel that the things that are going on aren't going to directly affect them, therefore they don't care to get involved.
But they will.
Until they're
in the long run.
Right.
In the long run.
So one of the things that already happened in California that eventually, you know, we're a little bit behind California on many things, but they're getting rid of 1099s and making everybody W-2s.
Did you
So
know
for
that?
me as a barbershop owner, if I have to pay somebody minimum wage for them to sit in my shop and do nothing, some of us are more motivated than others. I've never had a problem building clientele in any shop, no matter where it's at in the valley, because I'm active, you know what I mean? So I'm active, people see that I'm active and they say, I want to go with the, they see that, people see how much work you put into stuff and they want to sit with you.
Yeah.
So I've never had that problem. So if somebody was to hire me or you as a W-2 employee, it wouldn't be a problem. But if you hire a barber that's fresh out of barber school, that doesn't have a clientele, isn't that self-motivated, that really needs to sit around and wait for walk-ins, that's not going to benefit the shop because you're paying out 12, 13 bucks an hour out of pocket for them to sit there and play on their cell
But
phone.
see, that's what separated us from the supercuts, from the sports bars.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
why in the hell would you do that for minimum wage? It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
You sit there, I mean, that's what separated us from corporate America. I mean, it might not be that far up, but no.
I mean,
No,
everybody has a place.
No, everybody
You know
has
what I
a
mean?
place,
Everybody
yeah.
has a place.
Yeah,
So
for
if you want to go work at Supercuts for minimum wage plus tips, I know a lot of girls that kill it over there. You know, they're able to crank out a haircut every 15 minutes. They're getting $5 to $10 tips on that, so they're getting paid for
It's
the
something
hour
for
plus they're
everybody.
getting, let's say, 20 bucks an hour on top of that.
I
So they're
would
making
agree
about
with that.
30 something bucks an hour, and they're okay with that, and that's fine. If that's the amount of money you need to make in order to pay your bills and take care of business, then by all means, that's totally fine.
No, totally.
You
But
know?
when you think about the amount of money you're making them compared to what they're giving you,
Right, I know, but that's
but
corporate life.
yeah, you're
You
right.
choose that,
Not
you know?
everybody has the hunger we have.
Yeah.
Right,
A lot of people are very happy with just standing right here,
yep,
do,
and do your
and
thing.
and that's what they want. So, but that's what separates from industry people and just other people. You know what I
Right.
mean? So you're right. We got to keep it within. That works for people, but the freedom of being a barber is what makes us barbers.
Yes.
That's what to do this.
Yes.
To be able to provide for your family and to be a barber and be a painter. You know what I mean? To be able to have a small place. The freedom is what separates us. And
For sure.
if we're just gonna be regular 9 to 5 Joes, then what the fuck was all this
Yeah,
for?
exactly.
It was
Just have
worth
a
it was
regular
worth
job.
nothing.
Yeah.
And you know what? My dad's a barber, so and I thought that was a barber before he passed away, rest in peace. But I go to my dad's barber shop and it's funny because he's like 69 years old, right? He's been a barber for 34, 35 years, the same spot. And my dad has a pool table in the other room, right? And I'll go over there and visit him and be like, Mija, come see this shop. He's got like 2-3 clients waiting in there and he's in there like, look at this new thing that did beep. You can't beat that freedom.
Right.
You can't beat the fact that Frank and Joe and so they're gonna wait there all day for El Barbero. And he's over there teaching me pool tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if he's
They're gonna be hanging out anyway.
but if
They
it's
want to
not-
get a haircut an hour doesn't
if
matter.
he was on a 9 to 5 clock and he had me working there or someone else, like, where's the joy?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's no joy in that.
I agree.
And
I
I
There's
totally
no
think
fulfillment.
it's the relationship you build with your clientele too. Like you were mentioning earlier how you're saying all these master barbers out there, but what is it that you master? You just master what you know what's in your chair, not with everybody else. And I liked how you touched that because I think we are all master barbers because we do master our own clientele. Like we already know how fast to cut it, how they want it, how they like it. Like we know when to go slow and talk or hey, I need
You know
to
how
mention
they
it
feel.
now.
You master your station. You know exactly when you turn like this. You know when you turn your chair, you're gonna stop it with your foot, with your hip, with the, whatever. You master your.
She's like,
Hey, that's true.
then you get the shears and everything.
Yeah, that little spin you give on the shears, you don't even know you do it.
Right.
That you master yourself. You're not I'm a master. I know everything.
Right.
No, you mastered yourself.
Right.
And you spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours doing that. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So that's, you know, you're not a master barber until you put in like how many?
10,000
10,000 hours
Yeah.
doing the same thing over
Right.
and over again. So that's, to me, that's what a master
Which
barber
it takes
is.
a long time. Have you ever done
Oh,
the math on
yeah.
that? Have you ever done the math
Dude,
on
barber
that?
school took me like a year and a half at 1,500 hours.
So I did the math on like 10 cuts a day, 5 days a week, and I think I'm still like, and I think I've pretty consistently done at least 10 haircuts a day, 5
Yeah.
days a week for the last 3 years, and I think it only averages out to like
Yeah, keep going.
4,000
Yeah.
something.
Oh my
Keep
god.
going.
God
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So there's always stuff to be learned for sure.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt,
But
always.
I don't always think that it has to be on time. Because there's a lot of people who are great at cutting hair and they've been doing it 1 year, 2 years.
Yeah.
And they're better than the guy who's put in
Been for 10
10,000 hours.
years. Yeah. But you know what?
You know?
I think some barbers are naturally given a talent. Some barbers are
Oh
just
yeah, you either have it
naturally
or you
just
don't.
Yeah, I agree.
You
Yeah.
know, like for example, me, I needed to learn.
Yeah.
I did not have it. I had to learn,
Yeah.
and it took me longer than most barbers. Like I know most barbers will learn like in a few months. It took me about a year and a half to 2 years to get a good haircut.
I think maybe that might be apparent now because of the opportunities for YouTube tutorials and all that stuff. But we didn't have that. Where
No, we
where a
didn't.
YouTube tutorial could be like, you see this little hair right there? Just do this. Zoop. That might have taken us 2,
That's
3 years
true.
to learn.
That's
true.
So I think as of course as technology goes, you could be a master a lot faster.
now, for
But
sure.
I think, you know,
Yeah.
there's still a time limit that you got. But yeah, you're right. There are barbers that just
We're
come
just
out a year,
naturally-
2 years.
Yeah,
and
and they're
like,
like,
"A la madre."
And then I think when I think of like master, it just doesn't pertain to hair cutting.
right.
Because to me, it's like as a whole. Like, do you get in there and clean the toilet? Do you scrub the toilet and
That's
clean the
what I-
mirrors for your fellow barbers?
There
You
you
get
go.
in there and be a team player?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you can cut a badass hair, but if you don't lift a finger to help and be a team player, then to me you're not a master.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that's important. That is very important in a shop. And I love that you touched that because a lot of barbers are in a shop competing against each other instead of working together. How do you feel about working at a shop? Because you work for Landmark, right? You're not at your own salon.
Right.
Complete. How do you feel about that?
I feel great about it. Right now it's just Ivan and myself, and there's a Cosmo, and there's a new barber coming next week. But I felt right at home. I don't want to say I interviewed barbers, but when I was in barber school, there was a few shops that had reached out. So I went out and I visited, I talked to them, but I never felt the vibe, you know?
Okay.
I felt like I'm different. Like, this is how I dress every day. Like, and there's some guys who wear sweats and hanging off their ass. That's just not me. Like, I want to dress like the clients I want to attract.
Right.
You know, I'll cut anybody's hair. However, I want those higher end clients, you know?
Mhm.
I digress. I forgot where I was going with this. But,
As far as working in the
Work-
barber
yeah,
shop
how do
versus
you
working in the
feel?
salon.
Or
I feel
working
like
on
it's
your own.
great. And so you just, the key word is that you have to be a team player. So when I went in there, Ivan didn't tell me, hey, clean the bathroom today.
Yeah.
Or hey, there's fingerprints on the front door. No, those are just things that bother me. So I found upon myself, as soon as I go in Friday morning, I go in and I go, whether I have a customer or not, I'll go in early and I'll clean that bathroom, and I'll clean the toilet, and I'll clean the mirror, and I'll go to the front door and I'll clean the fingerprints off, because nobody knows when they walk in, if it's a walk-in, they don't know who the owner is.
Exactly.
Is the owner even present?
Yeah.
But you represent that establishment. And so
True.
whether I'm
Can you
the
come work at my
owner
shop?
or manager or not, I want to put a good foundation. When people walk in for the first time, first impressions are a lot.
Yeah.
And so I want to make sure that door is clean. If they want to use the restroom, I want to make sure it's clean. Because whether they're my client or Ivan's client, sometimes those clients take it personal.
Mhm.
Like, I don't want to come back to Landmark because their toilet was dirty.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or your mirrors were dirty. So I take that personal, so I take it upon myself. I'll make sure everybody's mirror is clean. I'll make sure the toilet's clean. I don't say it out loud or, hey Ivan, I cleaned the toilet today.
Yeah.
And, I don't do it for praise. I do it because when my client walks in or his client walks in, I want it to be clean.
Right.
And it's teamwork. At the end
It
of
is
the day,
teamwork.
it's teamwork.
And I think at the end, as a whole, that's what makes a master barber or a superb barber. That's
like
what
that.
makes an individual, is being a team player at the end of the day.
That's very
That's
true.
true.
I heard you.
Well,
from
there,
that.
you know, we've all said it in multiple ways, but there's more to being a great or even good barber
Yeah.
than just doing a good haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Absolutely.
DL Master Barber, I took his class one time, and he literally said out to the audience, he was like, I would never hire any of you.
Yeah.
You wanna know why? Because you won't clean the toilet
Yeah.
afterward.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I mean,
I know.
I don't know if that was word for word, but that was Dallas, I remember he said that. He said,
Right.
my barbers clean the shop from head to toe
Right.
after every
Yeah.
single
They
day.
don't
I mean, you even
see
see some of these big, super big name barbers, A-Rod and Western Barber, all the people working at Elegant Studio, and they're taking videos of themselves scrubbing toilets.
That's
You know,
true.
that's
so
part of
good.
being a barber.
Yeah, I do. I have to come in here. I have to sweep. I have to clean the toilets. I have to post to Instagram. I have to do a haircut.
I
I
think
have to clean the mirror.
a lot
Like,
of
you gotta do it
employees
all.
think that,
Uh-uh.
and it might even be like this at my shop, where they feel like that's your responsibility,
No.
right? You're the shop
But
owner,
we all
it's
work
your job to
there,
take care of this
you
stuff.
know.
You know, it's not my job
But I care about
to
what
scrub
everybody's
floors and
clients-
do
yeah,
this
they-
and do that.
And the other day, I was scrubbing the floor and I was clean, and I pulled out my phone and I was gonna Instagram it, I was gonna do something, but I was like, why?
Yeah,
I don't need to show
Yeah.
off that I'm
Right,
cleaning
right,
the toilet. It's just for me.
yeah.
Yes.
It's not for Ivan, it's not for his clients, it's not for, well, it is for my clients too, but it's for me.
Yeah.
I wanna make sure my shop is clean because I'm representing that shop.
Yeah.
So I need to make sure there's good
That
representation.
is so dope. Like, you guys are
It's
just
dope.
so fucking dope. It is, because that's like, you don't hardly ever hear that. The
Yeah.
barbers nowadays are not that humble enough
Mhm.
to go in there and scrub a toilet or clean somebody else's hair
People in general.
yeah, exactly. People in
It's hard to find a good
general.
employee anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I have a right hand man. I like to call him. I like to call him assistant because he's more than that. And he, for the most part, I don't have to do a lot of that because he's there for me. But you have to have respect for your own place. You know what I mean? And the days that he doesn't come in or the days that he's not here, yeah, there's no. You come in, you scrub the toilets, and then you start making money.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Nah, and you know what? When he said that about your employees who think that it's your, I was that barber. I was that barber that just wanted to go pay my $140, keep my thing, and I don't want to be bothered. But you know what? That was a horrible mindset, absolutely horrible. And I was young, you know what I mean? And you know what? And we did think it was your thing. And I wish I could go back in hindsight and be better, and you know what I mean. But that, in all honesty, that's an honest
But you know what?
evaluation.
That's actually a good thing because you start growing as a barber
Yeah.
without realizing it, or as a person, as a human being in general, where you actually can sit there and admit that you were wrong. You know what I mean? And now look at you.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm humble now. You know
I
what I
had
mean?
a
But you
humble
have to-
slice of
You have
pie.
to go through
Humble
all that
pie,
stuff,
yeah.
and it's just
Yeah.
a learning experience, all in general. I think
Yeah.
what we do, we learn every single day, whether it's
Oh, yeah.
something small like that, or with the haircut, or with the
Yeah.
disease.
The way
or
I
like
think about
anything.
it is, regardless that I've done this client every Saturday at 9 o'clock for the last 10 years, this is the day I give them the best haircut. And the next Saturday, this is the day I give them the best haircut. Every haircut is gonna be the best haircut I've ever done.
Yeah.
And that's the way I look at it, you know what I
That's
mean?
so
And
dope.
so you just gotta do it all, you gotta be humble. Barbers need to get humble.
Everybody, yeah.
Everybody
But
in life,
it's- you
but,
know what? It's hard to
you know.
to teach. You can't teach
No, you can't teach
somebody.
humility.
You can't teach somebody how to be humble.
Mhm.
You can't teach somebody how to be motivated.
Yeah.
When I was in school, like I would just sit and bullshit with the guys, and they're like, "Oh, you should be like a motivational speaker." I'm like, "That's great. Like, thank you for that. Thank you." But you can't teach it. Like right now, what I'm telling you guys, you're gonna be excited. And you're gonna be motivated, like for an hour. And then we're gonna meet again tomorrow. You might lose it, and then we'll meet again tomorrow, and then I might motivate you a little bit more,
Mhm.
and it's only gonna last so long. But it's you
Who
has
would-
to
would
implement
want
it.
to
Yeah.
want it.
Right, you have to
Yeah.
want it. It has to come within. I can't teach you.
Yeah.
But
See,
you know
but
what?
the way I like to explain that is it's not, you can't motivate somebody, you can inspire somebody to be motivated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's the thing
Yeah.
with this whole thing, like, you might not think that you might not think that you can impact somebody else's life by just saying a few words, but you do.
Yeah.
It might not impact 10 people. Maybe 10 people are listening to you, and out of those 10 people, only 5 will take it. And out of those 5, only 3, you know? But
And it's still a win.
one makes a difference.
Absolutely.
You know what I
it
mean?
does.
One makes a difference. Like, your story, it motivates me like no other. And I could hear it over and over again, but it's in a different area that it'll motivate me. You know what I mean? Same with yours. People need to hear these things.
And I think, what motivates me about Marisa is her consistency.
Yeah.
There's one thing I felt I've always lacked in life was just a good daily routine. A good, this is when I go to bed, this is when I wake up, this is what I eat. You know what I'm saying? But, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like she has that down pretty pat. And you know what? That's very hard to discipline yourself to be like that.
Yeah.
And be an artist? Come on. You know what I mean? Us artists, us barbers, like, I'll do whatever I
All over the
want.
place.
I go to bed at 4, wake up at 9.
That is so weird.
But you know what? It's hard for us to have that. And you know what? Even though I might have only known her this short time, I take her daily routine and I want to it inspires me. I want to be that. And that's the one thing that I've always struggled with as a barber and as this free bird out here is that consistent, disciplined life. And really that's what makes success.
Yes.
You know what
And
I mean?
it's something so simple,
It's
but so
simple,
hard.
it's so hard
It
to
is
do.
very hard, and I'm gonna tell you why, because I'm the same way. I'm all over the place. Like, I
Yeah.
want to sleep real late, and
Yeah.
then I have a really hard time in the mornings. But then Marissa's just like so organized and everything. But it's
But it took discipline though.
Yeah.
I'm sure it took discipline, you know?
You know what's consistent? My good mornings. Because I wake up
Yeah, she does that good morning at like 5:30. I'm like barely going to sleep.
every morning. I'm up and I'm going before the sun rises, whether it's winter
Yeah.
or summer or whatever
She
the
does.
case may be.
Yeah.
I'm up and I have an appreciation for that. But I'm also a firm believer. Like, if you surround yourself with millionaires, you're gonna be a millionaire
Yeah,
someday
sure.
as well.
Yeah.
I
So,
agree.
like, you haven't been much of consistency, but you surround yourself and you see my story, and you
Yeah.
have other people that you hang around with, or you see their story. Someday that consistency is gonna come.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
have to be open-minded,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So right now I'm reading all these millionaire books, and I have my wife and I have all these endeavors that we want to implement in our lives, and we want to have that financial freedom. But if you surround yourself with all of
You'll
that,
get used to it.
you will be that.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
dope.
You know, if I hang around with guys that are or girls that are unmotivated, eventually I'm gonna fall into that
Yeah,
slump as well.
that's true.
Although-
That's true. Bad habits, good habits.
Right. So you just have to surround yourself and with an open mind and know that that's what you want, and then go get it.
Yeah.
I agree with you
They're
100%.
great influences, straight up, for real though.
We need to hang out more often.
Yeah. Yo, we could start something you don't even know, man.
Oh,
It's just so
man, I can't
amazing.
wait.
But to kind of go off of that, I think a lot of us barbers, especially in Tucson, even Phoenix, like, we're so close to the border. We're so close to doing wrong, being gangsters, being drug dealers, all that stuff, and we try to like separate ourselves from it. And it's hard because, just straight up as a social aspect, that's what a lot of us did, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to have to break away from like the hood and be like, yo, gee, like I can't be doing these long nights, I can't be going to the strip club, I can't be doing all this stuff. And it might sound kind of adolescent or immature for me to even be saying that, but that shit's real.
Yeah,
You
it
gotta
is.
be able to say,
I'm glad you
no,
touched
I need
that.
to go home.
It's real
It's a lot of fun. It's I'll be the first one to say it took me a long time to get out of that, and even times you still get back with people and you think, well, maybe I should. You know what I'm saying? But we need to get out of that mental mindset, and the fact that the majority of the good barbers that are here in Arizona, we're Chicano. We're Mexican American. We're coming from across the border. We were taught a whole different idealism of what life is supposed to be. We were raised to look up to the cartel or the
Right.
homie with the big
You know
cars or
what?
the homie with the money. And you know what? We might end up becoming barbers, but that still is influencing us on
in
some
the back
sort.
of your mind.
You know what I mean? So we
Man.
need to find like-minded people like this who could be like, yo, it ain't that no more. You know what I mean? You need to,
Careful.
damn producer. But no,
It was a co- it was that-
But no, for real though, ourselves from what we think is reality. Everybody has whatever they do, but the whole lifestyle of Arizona is very easy to be caught up.
Yes.
And so you're gonna be a barber or you're gonna be caught up. You're gonna be slanging cuts or you're gonna be slanging dope. You know what I'm saying? Like you need to either get the different, and it, unfortunately, we all suffer from it, myself included. But you have to tell yourself every day, I'm more than that. I'm more than the hood. I'm more than the people that I used to deal with. I'm more than the drugs I might have even dealt. I am barber. I am amazing.
Yes.
And we need to start breaking from that.
That's fucking dope.
And it takes one decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
One
one mindset,
to
that's
one.
it. If you want it bad enough, you can change your life literally one day to the next.
And I want to finish with this question. How did barbering impacted your life or to make that change that you're talking
So it
about?
impacted me because I was that person I started slanging dope when I was about 19 years old. And hold that thought. Take over, I'll be right back. My brother's outside.
What about you, Marissa? What impact? How has barbering impacted your life or made a change in your life?
Well, first and foremost, my family. I wanted to give them, because I can work all day, every day. I can work 24/7. It doesn't bother me. I'm not the type of person that's like, oh, I'm so tired. I work 12 hours a day. Like, no, I do it happily because I'm providing for my family, you know? And so I didn't want to, like I mentioned earlier, I didn't want to be 60 years old on a ladder painting, because that's kind of takes you nowhere. You know, you're just working on a daily, yes, you make good money and you provide, but I wanted that freedom, like Selena was talking about. I wanted the freedom of to come and go as I please, to charge whatever I want, you know. I know I can make more barbering than I am painting if I put my mind set in the right place. So right now I'm just barbering 2 days a week, Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
And then I'm
So just the
painting
weekend.
this weekend, and then I'm painting Sunday through Thursday. So I'm working 7 days a week. So I'm hoping, well, and I know the time will come where the clientele will come and I will build all of that and I'll be barbering full time. But my family was my motivation. I wanted to do it for my family, not to just show them workmanship and drive and things like that, but just follow your passion.
Yeah.
Just don't do what your friends are doing, or just don't be a doctor because everybody said they want to be a doctor. I mean, follow your heart. And if you follow your heart, you'll never work a day in your life.
Oh man, that's true. That is
You
so
know?
true.
And the money will come. So if you do what you love, you'll find other avenues to make that money. Like barbering, you just don't have to stand behind the chair.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
make a clothing line, make a tool line, you know. There's so many things. The options are limitless of what you
Yes.
can do. You should, whether you're a barber or a realtor or whatever it is that you do in life, you should be making money while you're sleeping.
Yes.
So you're not having to work that hard while you're awake. And so that's what our ultimate goal is that I want to make money while I'm sleeping. Because it's not only going to benefit us, you know, it's going to benefit our family as well. And then you're just showing them, you know, work ethic and things like that. And you want your kids to take, you know, your kids, you want them to see how hard you work.
Yes.
And you only hope that they will carry that on as well.
And appreciate it as well too. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so sorry, where I left off, that's when it all changed because I was, you know, slanging was the thing to do in town, you know what I mean? So at probably about 17, 18 is when I really started selling, you know, a lot of stuff. And then I became a barber, but it kind of never leaves you, you know what I mean? So I was put in a couple positions where I had to, not had to, but I chose to, and I did it, and I was so tired of it. And and literally there was a time I had a client in the chair and I said, dude, I'm so done with slanging drugs. All I want to do is slang cuts.
Right.
That was it right there.
That was it right there. That was
it.
it. And I was tired of it, dude. Like, honestly, my best homies, they're all in prison right now. They actually raided my place one time. Like, I mean, this is real. You know, we're all being open right now. I was cutting hair out of my apartment. Like I told you, I was trying to do two lives. I was trying to do 2 lives. And next thing I know, I got FBI and ice out in front of my house with guns, and they're looking for my buddies, and you know what I mean? And I was just over it. It's done. You know, I'll always keep
watching. I want to thank everybody for your time and for your support, for being here. Thanks everybody that's watching and that listens. Do you want to give any shout outs? Where can they find you? What's your Instagram name?
Yeah. You know, first and foremost, thank you, Karla. Thank you, Parker, for doing this, because you know what? This is something we need in the Southwest. You know, we might be a kind of smaller sort of state and city, but this is dope. So, again, my name's Selena Fierro. You can get me at Selena Fierro, 3rd generation on Instagram. I represent Team Exotics all day long. And this is my shop, my little piece of heaven, my little slice of humble pie, 3rd generation barber studio.
That's awesome.
And don't forget, slanging cuts, because it's always better to slang cuts than to slang shit.
Marissa, where can they find you?
It's hard to follow.
Hey, no doubt though, come on, man.
Come on.
Hey, come on, good vibes. Get them to them, get them to them, get them.
Good vibes _AZ. That's where you can find me.
Landmark.
I'm at Landmark, of
Yeah.
course. I mean, again, it's hard to follow something like that. But again, just being a team player, being humble, striving for what you want, being motivated and being hungry at the end of the
Yes.
day is what's gonna get you far. You know? Surround yourself with not only millionaires, but barbers or anybody for that matter that is hungry and that is willing to move forward on a daily basis. You know,
Minded
not
individuals.
not somebody who's hungry or motivated for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 1 week. You need to find somebody who's willing to read a book from beginning to end.
Yes.
And then not only just finish that book, but you have to implement what you learn.
And
You know?
make the change.
And make it change on a daily basis. And then, you know, when I get motivated and I learn something and I'm like, God, this is fucking great. Like, I want to go tell Selena and Jill, like, guys, you have to fucking do this because this is great. and I just want to surround myself and I want to make, when I make it, I want to surround myself with everybody else whom I love and say, guys, like, you have to get on board with this because this is going to work. Because not only when I'm successful, I want everybody around me successful as well.
And that's right there
That's
is
really
why
nice. Give me
I
five.
hang out with
Give me
this
five.
girl.
All right.
That's why I hang out with this girl and that guy.
And Parker, you want
Alright, check it out. So we talked about this earlier. We have now created a hub for information as far as what's being passed down legislatively. So check out, it's Barbers of Arizona. So at Barbers of Arizona on Instagram. It's going to be a cut and dry, very specific, informational page. No bullshit, no memes, no pictures of haircuts, nothing like that.
Straight
It's
information.
strictly specific to the information being passed down legislatively from the government down to the barber board. So make sure you guys check that out, Barbers of Arizona. And you guys can find me at Parker_FitBarber at Sun Gold Tattoo and Barber.
Hey, good shit.
Me, well, everybody knows K-Leon_11. And
Yes, everybody knows.
And I have Parker co-hosting, and today was on Selena Fierro and Marissa Good Vibes. And your guys' story is fucking dope. And
That
I
was an
hope
awesome conversation.
somebody can hear this and make a difference and impact in their lives. That's all I want.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much for coming down there.
Who's watching?
I hope Tucson
Behind the
Yeah, there you go.
Behind the chair _ with Karla Leon, the one and only.
There you go.